no, I mean like take the neck part off.
Well, maybe. No, if I took it apart from there, nah, it would be something like I would give you an intact arm.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Or I'd give you an intact leg. I wouldn't just give you. I say, oh, what's this muscle right here? I wouldn't do that. Okay. I mean, that would be a little more vicious, right?
Yes, that would be vicious.
Okay, I'm not going to do that. Okay. Okay, so you guys remember I told you had to know a couple of deeper muscles. This is one of them. Remember, this is the spine of the scapula. What's the muscle above that? Supraspinatus, one right below it. The infraspinatus, that is right under this muscle.
So you will show it like
What is this? If I could ever get it back on here. Sort of. Is this the wrong
it
one?
goes in a cycle, doesn't it?
There you go.
Ah. Okay, so what's this muscle? Deltoid. We went over most of these. You guys know the biceps brachii, your triceps brachii. Told you I'm going to lay off the forearms. Just they're hard to identify on a model, so
Thank you.
I'm not going to do that. All right. That's pretty straightforward. I've got the same thing for lots of legs too. If I wanted to look at these, they'd be fine. Same kind of deal. You got to be able to find. Okay. This one right here. Not that hard, right? That's your gracilis. Okay. Now where's the one coming across? It looks like it's removed.
No sartorius.
The sartorius is missing. I'll have to find it.
No, we were looking at it on the smaller model.
Yeah, I'm saying, but here it's missing because it goes from here to here. Okay.
That is it.
That's
That's
totally
from
it.
that other one. That's not from here. Anyways, that muscle's there. You can still see the gastrocnemius, the calcaneal tendon. Okay, not that big a deal.
Rectus femoris.
Rectus femoris. Iliotibial tract. Tensor fascia latae. They're the same. Okay, so you need to know them from different views, so you're not surprised. Remember, this is a neuron, right? What's a bundle of these called? Fascicle. What's a bundle of fascicles called?
Nerve.
A nerve. Okay, so yeah, so cell body, axon, hillock. What are these little projections out of the cell body? Dendrites. What's this?
Myelin
sheath.
It is myelin sheath, but it is a cell.
Depends.
It depends.
It depends.
I would say, hey, what is this if it's a central nervous system? Oligodendrocyte. What is this if it's peripheral nervous system? Schwann cell. Okay, what's your node right here?
Nodes of Ranvier.
It's a node of Ranvier. What's that responsible for?
You just said it.
It allows action potentials to happen. Okay? Well, depolarizations are part of action potential, so you can say either way would be right.
¿Tú no estás grabando?
Does that make sense? All right. Punch your nose. That's not Spanish. Huh?
¿Cómo? ¿Qué?
I just said, no, yo no.
Oh,
She asked me if I'm recording. I said,
okay. All right. Remember,
I'm recording it. I can send it to you.
remember we have the olfactory bulb. What is the bone that the olfactory nerves go through? It's cribriform plate, and these would be olfactory nerves. Makes sense. They come out of the olfactory bulb. Okay, so this part of your nasal cavity is what? That would be the superior nasal concha. Okay, so most of your smell occurs in the top third of your nasal cavity. Make sense? All right. You got plenty of brain models. You guys remember those, right? So, this is what? Well, what's the organ?
Cerebellum.
That's the cerebellum. So what's this little white stuff inside the cerebellum? That's the arbor vitae. Okay. What are these grooves that are cut into your brain tissue? Yeah, the sulcuses are the grooves, and the folds of tissue in between the grooves would be your gyruses, right? Why are you giving me like a stare of I don't know what you're talking about? I don't want this late in the game. You guys with me though,
Do that
right?
again?
The fold of tissue is a gyrus, and the sulcus is the crease in between your gyruses. Does that make sense? All right. We talked about the cerebellum. You also need to know what this is.
Corpus
The
callosum.
corpus callosum. Okay. This area right here, it's the thalamus. Okay. The thalamus encompasses what? The third ventricle. So the third ventricle is within the thalamus. What is this pink area right here? That's your choroid plexus. What does it do? Produces your cerebrospinal fluid. Okay? I know, I've talked about this over and over again. I'm glad that it's sinking in. Okay, what is this little tiny organ right there?
Pineal gland.
That's your
Pineal.
pineal gland. Okay, your pineal gland does what?
Melatonin.
Secretes melatonin. Okay, melatonin is really important for your sleep cycle, right? Okay, on the opposite side, you have another organ right here. Okay, that's your pituitary gland. It secretes lots of hormones. Okay, controls lots of different things. Okay, so if this is your third ventricle, which is in your thalamus, what is this little duct going down to this fourth ventricle called?
Cerebral aqueduct.
That's your cerebral aqueduct, and right in front of your cerebellum is your fourth ventricle. What is this right here? This is the pons, right below the pons.
Medulla.
Medulla oblongata. Okay? You guys okay with that, right? What's this lobe of the brain?
Cortex.
Frontal.
Oh, frontal.
This lobe of the brain.
Parietal.
Parietal. This one.
Occipital.
Occipital. And this one.
Temporal.
Temporal. If I peeled back the temporal, what would be under it?
Insular.
The insular lobe. Okay? You guys with me on that? Not too difficult, right? All right. Let's see. We already talked about this. You guys need to know your gray matter and your white matter, your dorsal root, your ventral root, and your lateral root, and then your dorsal root, or your dorsal, ventral, and lateral funiculus too. You need to know your dorsal root and your ventral root, and when they come together, that becomes a spinal nerve. Okay? Absolutely crucial to know that. All right, let's see, what else? Know the parts of the eye, your rectus muscles. Know, okay, absolutely know that this is your iris. You have your pupil. What is the white part of the eye? The sclera. What is the clear, like, membrane around the eye? Conjunctiva. Okay, conjunctiva. We're just talking about in front of your iris. That is your cornea. What is the fluid that is in between your iris and your cornea called?
Aqueous humor.
That's your aqueous humors. Okay, definitely know that. Okay, what's the gelatin-like material in the main part of your eye? That's your vitreous humors. Okay, remember our dissection. Okay, now if we opened up an eye, you see this dark area in here? What is that? That's your ora serrata. What is this bright colored stuff? That's all retina. So all of that is responsible for picking up light. Okay, you guys with me? Now, in the back of your eye, you have a focal point. I think I can see it somewhere around here. I'll get that in a minute. We lost a... You guys see it right here? It's labeled 18. Okay, what's that? That's either the macula lutea or the foeva capitis. I don't care which one you call me because they're almost the same area. You just give me one of the two, okay? All right, if you have that, you also have where the optic nerve comes into your eye. That's called the optic disc. You guys with me? All right, if you have that, you also need to know the lens, okay? Which, here's the lens. We've also got a, pretty much if I gave you this, you've got your cornea, you've got your iris, and in between the cornea and the iris, you have your aqueous humors, right?
Right.
Alright, so not too life-changing, right? Here's your vitreous humors. I know this isn't a great model, but it's what I got. Alright,
Moving along.
moving along. Okay. We've also got, there's one muscle that I didn't mention. You guys remember the platysma?
Yes.
So right here, you definitely have to know that. Okay, we talked about the ear already. Okay, the outside of the ear is what? Pinna, or you can call
You
it the
take either
auricle.
word?
I'll take either one. Remember, you go down this canal. What's it called? External acoustic meatus. Okay. Please don't give me ear canal. I know it's
Auditory. I made it fancy.
no auditory canal is actually
That's in the
somewhat
skull,
right.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Remember your eardrum. Don't call it the eardrum. Call it the tympanic membrane. What are the three ossicles?
Malice, the incus.
Stapes.
The stapes.
Can you call that? Can you call them like hammer and all those other alternative names?
No.
They have.
No. Please call them the malleus,
Okay.
the incus, and the stapes. That's the first time I've ever heard
They
that.
have hammer.
I understand, but I want you to know the proper names. Okay, definitely know your semicircular canals. Know the cochlea. Also know the spiral organ, please. Okay. Also know that this is a vestibulocochlear nerve. Since it's all together, you can just call it the one thing. Does that make sense? Vestibulocochlear nerve. It's fine. Okay.
I'll do the vestibular.
No, this is all the cochlea, and this is the vestibulocochlear nerve. This right here specifically, if I point to just this, that's the spiral organ. Okay, if I point to just these things, these are the semicircular canals. Yeah, you definitely need to
We
know those.
need to know, like, are you going to point to
One specific one?
posterior, anterior?
If I point to one of them, you will tell me semicircular canal, and that would be it. Okay? I'm not going to make it any tougher than that. All right, what else? Guys need to know the 6 muscles of the eye. If you don't know them, I will be disappointed. Superior rectus, inferior rectus, medial and lateral, and your obliques. Okay? You have superior and inferior oblique. Okay?
Medial is that side, right? Or lateral is that side?
Medial is towards your nose, lateral is outside. If you've got that, we're going to be in pretty good shape.
And the nerves of
Huh?
the nerves of the brain.
What about the nerves of the brain?
No, not gonna be tested.
I'm not going to ask you specifics on that. It's too much. Okay? That is pretty much it. You guys have any questions for me?
Do have them.
Okay.
So the dorsal root ganglion is the same as the ventral